9 years ago today, I walked out of prison after serving over 24 years. What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. Like I said in the beginning of the video, 24 years I gave the state. 9 years ago, 9 years ago today, I walked out of prison. I remember waking up that day. I didn't believe they were going to let me go home. They called me to go to R&R. I believe it was around 10 o'clock. I didn't believe I was going home. I got to R&R. It was me and a Wood. And they handed us our dress outs. I remember I had some slacks, some dress shoes, a long sleeve white dress shirt, a black tie. And I was putting it all on. And I just didn't believe I was going home. They escorted us out. And we jumped in a van. And they drove to the place where our loved ones could pick us up. We jumped out of the van. There was the car that my father had provided me. There was my wife. They let me go. I got in the car and my wife asked me, "What do you want to do?" I said, "I need to get a phone." And my family was already calling my wife's phone. I was talking to people. I wound up losing my card that night. The card that I had loaded for my wife, and I remember it had $1,300 on it. And we were headed to San Diego, and we stopped in the what is it, the Paris mall or swap meet. It was an indoor, right? And I remember she handed me the card. And I was like, "What are you doing?" Because I wasn't used to handling stuff like that. Sure enough, I lost it. And the first night out, we had to sleep in the car. My family was trying to, they were trying to wire me money, MoneyGrams and everything. And every store I went into, I don't know what it was they saw. But they would tell me, "Oh, it's not working." And so, like I said, we slept in a car in Chula Vista, California, San Diego County. And that was my first day out. And I was fine with it. 9 years out, I have to be completely honest with you guys. So when I first got out, I was on fire for rehabilitation. You know, you hear those that are Christians, they hear this term. When somebody's a new Christian, they're on fire for the Lord. That same type of term applies to lifers when they first get out. They're on fire for freedom. They're on fire for rehabilitation. I remember getting out, and the main program that helped me change my way of thinking and looking at everything, everyone, every interaction was called CGA, Criminals and Gang Members Anonymous. It was created in prison by someone who had been formerly on death row. He wound up dying. Actually, they gave him a compassionate release. I believe they gave him a compassionate release. He died from Hep C on the streets. Having the death penalty, creating that program, getting down to life. I think it was life without. And then I don't know, but I believe they gave him a compassionate release. But getting out, my CGA was so fresh on my mind and my heart. My AVP, like all of the self-help tools that I had learned, that I was using every day to get out, they were still so fresh on my mind. There were hundreds of former lifers in San Diego, and we would all hang out. Everybody's working. We were encouraging people. Every one of us had multiple jobs. I remember we used to drive around San Diego. Like I said, my dad had provided me a car, right? And for anybody watching that has loved ones that are lifers, you're waiting for them to come home, let me tell you, if you can get them a car, as soon as they get out, their first 30 days should be getting their social security card, getting their driver's license, getting their ID. A car equals money. That's how you work. That's how you get to work. But we would drive around San Diego, and I've said it before, whenever a new lifer would get out, we'd go and pick him up from the transitional home, take him to Tacos El Gordo, and but we should trip. It'd always be a carload of guys who did over 20, over 30. One of them did 42 years, all convicted for taking lives. And we'd be driving around, and we were enjoying every single minute of every single day. Now, I have to be 100% honest. So, it's been 9 years that I've been out. And every single day has been a blessing. There's only a very, very small group of people that know that the last 3 years for me haven't been easy. There's been a lot of things going on in my life. It isn't for public consumption. And I know that the people that don't like me are happy to hear that, and that's fine. That's for them to work with, right? But I can say that I'm proud of myself for still being here. You know, I'm somebody that from the time I first started going to jail at 13, the longest I ever stayed out was 5 months. And the person I was back then, I was good to the people that I loved. Outside of that, I was a demon. And it showed. You know, I was talking to somebody, and they told me about this 9-year thing. You know, this isn't a celebration of me. I'm not celebrating my being out. I'm sharing my story 9 years out. 9 years. And I had to clarify to somebody I was talking to when they were like, man, they took 24 years from you. And I said, no, I forfeited that. Nobody took anything from me. I gave it away. I gave away 24 years of my life because of my ego, because of my pride, and because of my barrio. Didn't hesitate at all. I've told this story several times already. I was at a bar about 3 years ago, and I was talking to somebody. The guy was on my left. There was another guy on my right. And the guy on the left started asking me about my past. And I told him I did a little over 24 years. And the guy on my right, his head whipped, and he goes, damn, you couldn't get out any sooner? I said, no. No, I did exactly what I needed to do. If I would have been fixed at 20 years, I'd have got out at 20 years. So 24 years and like 2 weeks is what I did. 24 years and a week wasn't good enough for some reason. I believe that. I got out exactly when I was supposed to. Like I said, the last 3 years have been something else. But I know I'm loved. And I know that at the end of the day, my heart is good. My intentions are great. I may not always come off the right way. And that's because I'm human. I'll never be perfect. But I have enough common sense now to know when I'm wrong, I need to admit it. If I'm supposed to apologize, I will. Doesn't hurt my feelings to do those things. I created this channel as a way to give back and show respect to my victim. I don't always do it the right way. I don't. But let me tell you something. Had I gone back to prison, that's the highest form of disrespect to my victim. It means I didn't learn a lesson from the tragedy that I committed all those years ago. I put out these videos in the hopes that people that are on that path that I was on may think twice. I also do it for the lifers and those behind the walls that I know watch the channel and they wish they were out here. And I also do it so that the community sees people can change. Some people are redeemable. Before I go, I'll remind people that if you ask any lifer out here in California, anybody that had a life sentence, that took a life, if you ask them, doesn't matter if they have a year out or 10 years out, and you ask them, you think you deserve this? They're going to tell you no. But by the grace of God, we were given this opportunity. And so we take advantage of it. And we try to be the best representation of rehabilitation that we can. There's a lot of people that believe that I should have never been let out of prison. Even though I've been out 9 years now, I've been a productive member of society. And even when things have not gone great for me, I haven't turned to gangs, I haven't turned to criminality, I haven't even thought of hurting anyone. And I think that sometimes that tricks my brain. You know, I know one of these guys that doesn't like me says that the PTSD that I have and I speak about is fake PTSD, and that's fine. But every one of us that has done decades behind the walls, we understand what we're dealing with. And we understand that those that mock it, they'll never know. Anyhow, that's my video for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them, man. I'm out of here.